Latara Dragu, and I met Latara several years ago. We met in person, actually, in San Diego, California, attending a networking event, and the relationship has just fostered, and it's grown and grown and grown throughout the years. And so I love it when I meet, amazing people who are making a difference on the planet. And then we have this connection, and then the relationship just keeps growing from there. So her talk today is how to create a strong online presence by having a voice. With 23 years of experience in marketing, Latara, let me start over. With 23 years of experience in marketing, Latara Dragu specializes in graphic design and branding for high-end clients. Having worked in the luxury advertising industry for 18 years, she delivers cutting-edge campaigns for top brands and companies like Action Takers Publishing. With 15 years of online marketing experience, she helps businesses of all sizes drive steady growth using new media and technology. By optimizing their online presence and leveraging digital marketing strategies, Latara creates results for her clients by attracting and engaging with their ideal target audience. She is also an Action Takers Publishing #1 international best-selling author in The Book I Read, as well as the upcoming best-selling books, Action Takers Who Get Stuff Done. I said it that way just for you, Latara. Master Manifestors and Never Give Up. So welcome to the stage, Latara Dragu. Excited to hear what you have to share today. I'm going to take myself from the screen and let me know if you can see me. Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay, that's your 5-minute warning, okay? The crazy lady over here.
All right.
Awesome. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Lynda and Sally, for putting together this inspirational summit and bringing together all of these like minds and these powerful speakers. And thank you to the speakers and the audience for creating this event together. I wanted to first say that I don't know if this was planned or whether it was just pure serendipity, that the way you broke down the topics of the speakers yesterday versus today correlates with the Ikigai diagram. Was that on purpose? It just happened that way because I think it was beautiful that this morning Whitney Riley started talking about how you are going from the solopreneur with a vision, and then you're turning it into a team and an empire and a legacy. So that's kind of where I'm going with this, because you might be saying to yourself, what does an online presence have to do with my purpose? But think about it. If you want to create an impact in the world, if you want to change the world, if you want to help people, if you want to serve others, no matter what specific topic it's all about creating a community, creating a tribe, creating a movement. So what better way to facilitate that than to use online space as part of your growth plan? And that actually makes more of an impact, so you're more successful in following your purpose. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and start my screen. Oopsie, let's do that. Let's see if we can. Oops. And of course, we always have the tech going on here.
Well, it's because you're talking about online presence.
There we go. Okay, so I'm going to be speaking today, as Lynda already mentioned, about how to create a strong online presence by having a voice. But before I go into that, I want to give you briefly a little overview about me as to why I'm speaking today here with you and why you should be listening to me. I started working at Dream Homes magazine in 2002 as a photographer. I worked my way up to graphic designer, art director, marketing director, all the way up to assistant publisher. And I thought I had job security, but that was dashed. my career plans were dashed in March of 2020. And on March 31st, 2020, I was laid off due to the COVID shutdown. And instead of wallowing in despair like most of the world, I immediately jumped into action and I started my corporation on April 20th of 2020. And I noticed that, especially because of the COVID shutdown, the whole world was transitioning into online, and the businesses that weren't able to pivot quickly enough and transition their business online were the ones that were permanently closing their doors. So that's why I made it my mission to try and help as many small businesses as possible in that transition, because they're struggling. They're stuck in tech overwhelm. They're not savvy with the tech. So that's why I wanted to create that for them. So let's switch a little bit here. Pretend that you are standing on the shore amongst these thousands of penguins. Imagine the cacophony of noise that you would hear with all of them squawking and carrying on. But did you know that penguins mate for life? So that means that every morning, the two penguins kiss and one of them goes off into the ocean and hunts for fish all day and comes back at the end of the day. And somehow amongst this chaos, they're able to find each other again. So how is that possible? It's because even though it just sounds like chatter to us, every single penguin has a very distinct voice and they recognize each other. So now imagine that these are all of your competitors. And it doesn't matter if you're talking about, if you're a nonprofit organization and you're trying to reach out to your tribe, it's the same thing as, I'm just going to say, your ideal clients. How do you attract your ideal clients to you when you have all of these competitors screaming and hollering and saying, hey, over here, buy from me? And it keeps doing that. There we go. It's by having a voice. Why does it keep doing that? It doesn't want to go forward every time. Okay, there we go. All right, so when it comes to your online presence, you want to have a voice to cut through the noise and get noticed. Your branding is your voice, and you want to position yourself in front of your ideal clients at the point when and where they are seeking you out. So let's break down what I mean by a voice. So A stands for accessible and attractive, V stands for visible, O is for omnipresent, I is for informative and interesting, C is for convenient and clear, and E is for engaging. First of all, when it comes to your social media profiles, you want to have a nice professional profile pic, because that's going to be your best foot forward. That's going to make your first impression when people first get onto your profile. And unfortunately, photos of you, partying in a nightclub, sloshed, standing on a tabletop in a nightclub, holding a martini and dancing around, even though that might be a lot of fun, that's not necessarily your professional foot forward. And of course, I am on a mission to eradicate duck face. I'm just kidding. So what you would like to do ideally is get a professional headshot done. And if you can't afford a professional headshot, you can have a friend or family member take a nice professional looking shot of you. And one of the things is I see a lot of people trying to put photos up that have the lighting is wrong. Like if you shoot indoors, it might be a blue cast or a purple cast or green cast, or it makes you look weird. So one of the easiest ways to get a really nice photo done of yourself is to go outdoors. And you want to make sure that you're not facing the sun and you don't have your back to the sun, because if you're facing the sun, you're going to be squinting. It's going to be too bright, contrasty. If you're in front of the sun, then your face is going to be dark. But if you have the sun on either side of you, It's going to cast a nice light. So it's kind of like the outdoors is creating the perfect lighting situation for you. So yeah, in addition to that, you also want to make your profile set up to send a message to somebody. It's like pretending your social media profile is a business card. You want them to get right away what you're doing, and by strategically placing things on there that speak to your purpose, then you're already going to deliver that message to them just in the first minute that they look at your site. And that's why I think that ties in beautifully with finding your purpose, because once you have that crystal clear what you want to do, then you can create that message visually. Oopsie, we're going backwards here. Oh, there we go. All right. Okay, so the next one is being visible. You'd be surprised how many people or how many business owners don't have a website. You need a website, even if it's not directly leading to sales. It's the research that people do is specifically nowadays, it's about 80% of people that are seeking you out. They want to do a little bit of research about you beforehand. And if you don't have a website, they're going to think you're out of business. Or if they go to your social media profile and it looks like the last time you posted was 7 years ago, they're going to be like, well, who are these people? It's like, you know, why would I work with this person? So that's why you want to make sure that you have that strong online presence with your social media profile and your website. And if you want to take it a step further, have a landing page like everybody here, because they all have their act together. So another thing you can do is have posts with creating memes where you have your branding. You can have like inspirational quotes, or if you're promoting something, have all of your posts kind of branded to your colors, maybe have your website at the bottom or your logo on it, just so when they see that post, it instantly reminds them of you. So what you want to do is you have them think of you over and over and over again. Coca-Cola, McDonald's, these are some of the most popular brands on the planet, and yet they still do commercials. Why? Because they want to stay top of mind. So being visible will also keep you top of mind. You also want to be omnipresent. There are a couple of schools of thought that you should only master one social media platform at a time. But I think that having the strategy of eventually mastering all of the social media platforms is going to be advantageous, because people are coming to you from different directions. You can't dictate how they're going to interact with you online. They're going to be on LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook or Instagram. You know, figure out where they're going to be and start mastering that social media platform. You also want to do things like videos, ads. You can do text messages. You want to be coming at them from all angles, because then they're going to be like, wow, I see you everywhere. You know, I have to work with you. Next is informative and interesting. And I think I want to also add to that inspiring, because you don't want to make all of your content about you. You want to make it about the person that's viewing your content. You want to keep them inspired and interested, and you want to make your content informative so that they keep coming back to you and they see you as the expert. They see you as the authority. You can even post other people's articles. It doesn't have to be all your content. If you're if you're just like going nuts trying to fill your content calendar, that you can share other people's articles and other people's content, and especially if it's relevant to what your niche is, then people will still come to you anyways, because they know that your content is valuable to them, and they'll keep coming back and eventually become followers, and then raving fans, and then eventually they'll become part of your tribe. Next is convenient and clear. You want to make it as convenient as possible for people to enter into your world and start working with you. So this means, that's why a landing page is so effective. It's because it's very direct in what you need to do. It's just enter your information here and you can get this. Just 2 steps. Also, first and foremost, a confused mind does not buy. So if you are offering way too many options, people are probably not going to take action. So you want to just narrow it down to maybe 2 or 3 selections at any given point in the customer journey, so that it's like, okay, yeah, I can make that decision. We want to make it very simple and clear what that call to action is. If you're trying to book a call with somebody, instead of saying, yeah, let's meet sometime this month or sometime next week, give them 2 specific times. If they don't like either one of those, then give them 2 more specific times. You could say, I can meet with you 10 o'clock tomorrow or 2 o'clock on Wednesday. And if they say, oh, I'm out of town, just say, okay, we'll give them 2 more later on that week. Or even better, I like to automate as much as possible. So one of the things you can do is you can create a Calendly link and say, hey, if you'd like to book a call with me, here's my Calendly link. And it goes, boom, right then and there. Just makes things super simple, super easy, super clear, and super convenient. Next is engaging. You want to keep people engaged with you. That's why you want to make your content as interactive as possible. And as far as content goes, this right here, this summit is content, and it's very interactive. Just to keep that in mind. It's not just your posts, but I'm using posts as a reference point. So on your social media, that's why videos are really awesome, because they're, it's almost like having a conversation online. And when people comment on your posts, reply back to them. Even better, reply back to them with images like emojis, GIFs, photos, stickers, avatar images. That's all going to make them, first of all, it's going to boost your algorithm on Facebook, because as soon as they see people engaging back and forth, they're gonna increase the visibility of that type of post, because Facebook and other social media platforms are curating the content to make sure that it's valuable by the viewers. And the way that they gauge that is the engagement part of it. Also, whenever you're doing, if you want to ask a question, ask probing questions. And in fact, if anybody is wondering how to do this right, Lynda is like, just look at Lynda's profile page and see what she's doing. So ask probing questions, and instead of just typing it out as a text, what you should use, especially on Facebook, is they have those templates that are colored backgrounds, or if you have like an avatar, then it'll have different images with your avatar in it, which makes it even more personalized. And I tell you to use that because Facebook likes Facebook's content. And since they've already invested in creating those backgrounds, they want to encourage people to use those. So if you use those, again, they're going to boost your posts above other people's posts. And, that's another, algorithm hack right there. So these are all different things that you can combine together to increase your online presence and eventually create a movement. So there it is again. If you want to, you can take a screenshot of this just to remind you. And in the name of visibility and making it as convenient as possible to connect, here is my contact information. I am also gifting you, so if you like to, you can take a screenshot of this. I'm also gifting you a cheat sheet of what I just went over. So you can print that out and you put it next to your computer so that whenever you're going and doing online posting, you can kind of have that in the back of your mind to remind you what best practices to use. I also have a ebook that also goes over this information in more depth. And you can get those at avoice.online. So you can also take a screenshot of that, but I believe that we'll be dropping the link in the chat as well. So there we go. Thank you, Sally. Oh, okay. It's the long form version of that, but yeah. Any questions?
Awesome. Thank you for your presentation. I love that because you're getting visible. This is where we do make our greatest impact, and if we just keep everything in our heads, that, things aren't going to happen. And so one of the things you mentioned was engaging content. And so I would love for you to give us some examples of what are some ways that we can engage in our content. You did mention commenting back and stuff, but you share with us maybe a couple of different tips on what you have on creating engaging, not only creating the engaging content, but us engaging with others as well.
Okay, so as far as engaging content goes, again, look at Lynda's profile because she's really mastered the art of the probing questions. And so, if you can ask things like, what did you want to be when you were a kid? What did you want to be when you grew up? Just post a question like that. And it can either be on topic with what you do, or it can just be random things like, what's your favorite topping on a pizza or something. So it could be fun and quirky. You also want to make sure that you kind of inject your personality into your content, because people are kind of pick that up. Like people pick up about Lynda that she's quirky and that she loves singing and she loves to have fun. And these are all endearing qualities. So you don't want to come across as a robot, especially in the days of AI. That will make you unique. So when you ask a question like that and people answer in the comments, then comment back, love, heart, thumbs up, something to make sure that they're, it's not just like putting a question up and then you never respond back to your own post. It's kind of like, hey, how are you?
Doesn't work too well.
It's like, wait, you asked me a question because you wanted to have a dialogue with me, right?
You're like, right? I'll give you a great example of that. I did a post. I have a post going out about our next summit, which is Latara helps us on these summits. So thank you so much, Latara, for the work you do. If you haven't seen the banner she created, which is so fun with all the speakers, like we're in golf carts. I mean, it was just so much fun, right? So incorporating my quirky, fun personality into the marketing is really important. But we're doing our next summit, which is called Unstoppable Female. Unstoppable. Oh my gosh, Sally, what's it? Unstoppable Fearless Female Entrepreneurs Summit. And so I did a post, we're a call for speakers. This was a great opportunity for me to show. I'm going to show I'll share with you what we're doing this and why we're doing this. This is an opportunity for me to say, hey, we're putting on an amazing summit. And then an opportunity for you to speak, right? So what I'm doing is I'm giving to them. This is creating engagement. So I say, drop I'm interested, or I want to speak, or something in the comments if you are interested. So one of the groups I'm in, it has over 750,000 members in it. And I went ahead and dropped that call for speakers in that. They never approve any of my posts in that group, by the way. This one they did approve. And so I've 430 people who are interested and speaking at that event. Well,
Wow.
here's the thing. That's a lot of people. And because of Facebook's new rules, and the rules are that you cannot have a third-party person. These are their rules. Now, people break rules, but I don't. You can't have a third-party person log in as you and post as you. So what this means is that I am going into every single comment myself and responding to every single person.
Mhm.
Is it work? Yes, it is. But we have to look at the outcome of the results that we're looking for. Even worse, we weren't ready yet. I wasn't ready for people to answer that question, but I put stuff out there all the time, as Sally knows. And so I put the question out there, all these responses are coming. And I said, oh, we're not ready yet. This is I did respond. So my point is I responded to everybody, even though I wasn't ready. And I said, we're not ready yet, but when we are, I will come back and I'll get you the information to register or to apply to be a speaker. The point here is that I'm creating this engagement, because then what happens? They say, okay, thank you. And I say, you got it. I'm going back and forth with them inside one comment. So it's really important for us, like doing the emojis, that's fun and everything, but how can you keep the conversation going?
Mhm.
If they respond, like Latara, what was you had a question you said is, I don't know, what's your favorite movie? Let's use that as an example. And somebody drops their favorite movie in there. You're like, oh, I've never heard of that movie before. Instead of just thinking it, write it. Oh, I've never heard of that movie before. What's your favorite part of it? Ask them another question. Create the engagement. You got to do the steps to make that engagement. So learning how to ask the right questions. Yes. And that's so important, is like when we know, like, what are they looking for? Again, we talk about the ikigai. It's what does the world need, but what is it that they need? What are they looking for? And how can I create that, that relationship, that engagement with them? I've done a lot of work on this, as you all know. I mean, I do put a lot of content out there. It's because I absolutely love it. That's why I do it. It's one of the things I love. But so I didn't want to take over on that, but that was just a really important piece on the engagement, you know. So Latara, how do we decide? Because you mentioned getting to know all the platforms. To me, that sounds daunting. Like I'm all over the place already, but there are a lot of places I don't want to be. Like I have no interest in being in those places. So how would you recommend that we choose, maybe let's say the top 2 or 3? How do we choose the top 2 or 3 platforms that are there the best places for us to invest our time, energy, and effort?
Okay, not to avoid that question, but I wanted to have just a little follow-up on what you were saying about the comments when you posted that. First of all, I just wanted to point out how brilliant it was that she is building anticipation even before the event is created, which is perfectly cool, perfectly fine. That's actually a great tactic. That's something that you can use if you're going to be publishing a book. You can throw something out there like, which title do you like better, this one or this one? And you get people engaged with it, and you get them invested in your process. You have 2 different book covers up. Which one do you like, this one or this one? Get people to vote on it. And then people are going to be like, oh, she's writing a book. She's trying to publish a book. I want to follow her and make sure I'm in on that. But what you can do is, while you're at building anticipation, you can also be building a waiting list. So if you have a lot of people interested, especially if you have too many people who all want to speak at your event, at least get them to attend the event. And maybe you can have like an interactive part where all of the people that wanted to become a speaker can have like a 3-minute thing, like you were doing with the people on here that volunteered. So those are all really, really great engagement ideas. And to go back to your next question, what I like to do is, well, first of all, you want to research who your people are. Who are you going after? I decided that I'm going after like an older generation, because people younger than me are more tech savvy, and I'm going after people that are not as tech savvy as me. So that's why I'm going towards Facebook and LinkedIn, because there's less of the older generation on Instagram. I'm not saying that they aren't there. It's just that they're not there as much, as prevalent as the younger generations. So that's one way to gauge where to be. Another instance is I had an e-commerce, like years and years ago, I tried to get into e-commerce, and Pinterest was very good for that. But now I don't use Pinterest as much, just because I'm evolving in what I'm doing. So, maybe I will get back to a point where I'm using Pinterest as well. But for the time being, I'm focusing more on Facebook and LinkedIn, because that's where there's a lot of business owners, and the people that I'm trying to attract. So just keep in mind who you are, who the people are that you're trying to get a hold of, figure out where they are, figure out where they're hanging out. You can do like Facebook groups or whatever, and then it'll build organically. I mean, the more you're there, the more people are going to be friending you, and you're going to be sending friend requests as you interact with them more and more. So it's kind of a natural process. So you don't want to be like so scattered that you're not effective anywhere. But at the same time, I do have a Twitter account. I do have an Instagram account. They're not the biggest in the world, but I'm there. And all of my, I try to make it so that my graphics are also consistent across all of the platforms, so that, once you see me on one place, you'll recognize me on the other place. I hope that
I
answers
love
your
what you
question.
said. Yeah, it does. And what I love that you said there, because I'm on Twitter too, but I'm not on Twitter, right? So I have
Right.
a presence, because this is what you were mentioning, having an online presence.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about spending all your time there, but it's about
Mm-hmm.
having that presence, so that if people do search for you, they do find you on these different platforms. If you are on Twitter, like I am, like you have an account, I think I might have 10 followers, if that, and because I don't ever go, I literally never go on there. And so just the fact that I have any is amazing. And the people search for me, if they look for Lynda Sunshine West, if they spell my name right, I should probably start spelling my name both ways, just because. But if they spell my name right, they're going to find that I'm on here, there, here, there, here, there. They're going to find everywhere that I am, because I do have an online presence. So it's all about having that online presence. And so great presentation, Latara. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. And she has her contact information, how to get in touch with her. She has a free gift, the avoice.online. And then Sally also dropped a link in there and stuff. So go capture what she has there. I do prefer the word technique over tactic. That's the word tactic. When I hear that, it makes me think of tactical moves, military. That's a word that so I always make sure that I use the word techniques, tips, tools, techniques, and tricks.
Okay. Good to
So,
know.
just so you all know, I don't use tactics. I use techniques. Yes.
There we go. Well, thank you so much, Lynda. It was such a pleasure to be here. I'm so super, I'm over the moon about being involved in this and being a part of your world. So thank you for creating this movement.
Thank you. We're honored and blessed to have you. And I reached out to Latara maybe 2 weeks ago, and I said, guess what, Latara? We're doing 8 more summits between now and the end of next year. And she's like, yes. I thought for sure she was like, you guys are crazy. But she's like, I didn't know. And so watch out. We have many, many more summits coming up. We'll be sharing that information soon, like when we do have that application ready, to apply to be a speaker. And I'm just working out some final tweaks behind the scenes to get all that figured out. But this is part of exposure, right? This opportunity to get in front of different audiences, to share your message, to make a greater impact on the planet. So Latara, we're so honored and blessed to have you on the team. And I'm glad I met you, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago, something like that. And we kept it alive. So keep the relationships going. Keep them going. Thanks, Latara. That was fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to stop that recording, and we are going to, so Latara, if you want to stop your recording, unless you want to keep recording the next speaker.